All right. Let me before we just start, let me just make the opening prayer so we can just begin and all of those stuffs. Heavenly Father, I commit tonight's class into your hands and I ask that you help us to learn better and to also improve the more. Please I ask let your excellent spirit come and you should come and have your way. I invite you, Holy Spirit, come and have your way. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. All right. Uh, okay, I'm looking at the code. Uh, I don't know if you watched the last class video, but yes.
I did watch it. I was kind of fast forwarding.
Okay. Well, you I don't know if you heard when I said something about using because if you check the last code we did, I know I mentioned something about using the label, the for name and also the other things involved. Let me open up my VS Code and bring it to the other screen and show you what I mean. Although I mentioned something about
I,
the
I should stop. I should stop sharing.
in the last class I mentioned something about using uh the ID. Okay. The ID also using the giving it a name and value. You get all of those stuffs. You need a name or value, uh, especially for those buttons, because you don't actually give them any value. And also, if you check your label doesn't really, it's not really, the labels are not linking to any input type, to any input element. Yeah, because I remember I said the relationship between this label and the input is that for the value inside that for will be the same as the ID inside that input element. You get. So and yeah,
I'm not following.
you're not following.
Mm.
You're, oh, well, you've already done it, so there's no need of saying. Let me show you my screen. Share screen. So all in all, if you look at this right now, this was the first one I did. That was when I was giving the example. Then this was the subsequent other ones I did, especially for that radio button. When we give it type of radio. I remember I said that when you are designing it, you are going to create it in such a way that you only choose male or female. You can't tick the two of them. And that is where this name comes in. For you to be able to choose one, you have to make all of them have the same name. It may not necessarily be dev dev, but web dev, but they must have the same name. You get. You can actually have different values. You can give the values as male and female. You get. Then these four, these four must be the same as the ID. You get for any input label and the input for that label, both of them must be the same. So the backend and the backend here is the same. So if you're actually going to create something in that your code, the ID of that label must be the same for the input of that label. You get, e.g. now this label here is for this input over here. So for me to signify that this label is for this input over here, the the four attributes will be the same as the ID. So over the input, I'll put ID front end. For the label, I'll put front end. Both of them must be the same. Same thing goes to the other ones on your other forms too. Okay. Then also for a checkbox, you should also give them a name and also give them an ID and give them a value. You get, and and you know that for this checkbox, you want to tick, you want to tick them. You get, you're not choosing only one option. You must be able to choose at least all the options. You get, so you can give them different names. You can give them different names. Someone's so you can actually give them different names. Okay, so it's up to you to give them the type of name that you want, and then also a button. So that is like the brief recap of what I did that last time. You get, so I don't know if you get what I mean, Vivian.
Um, you can share one with my phone as well. The scope is very tiny. I'm not seeing everything as well. So I'm trying to understand and follow.
Okay,
And
let me zoom in.
we are seeing why, first of all, why did you say the input has to come first before the label?
I never said that the input has to come first. It can be before it. It can be after it. It's up to you to choose. Like if you notice now, this first one came first. You get. But if you look at it based on the whole design and all that, based on how I presented it to you guys, you know that the label will come first before the input. You get, label, you break it. Then under it, you now have an input form. So
Okay. Then this other one now is initiated from Zumba.
which other one?
The second one, the one that now has the radio. separate form. And please go live on this your code. Let me see how it goes.
All right. Okay. This is how it looks. So you get what I mean, because after putting up all of these things, you're filling them up. When it comes to this one, you have to tick only one. If you notice, you can't tick all of them at once. It has to be ticked only once. Yeah. But if I look at that your other code now, it's possible that you can be able to tick those buttons, at least that radio button, more than once. You can tick all of themselves and nothing will happen. Why this one? You have to select. You can select all of them. So I gave this scenario. You get. I use this as a scenario, so you can use it and work on that one that you designed. So
The food value and name.
yes, it's supposed
Right?
to. Yours is supposed to have, yeah. They're supposed to have a name. They're supposed to have a value, even ID. You get. The purpose of this ID is to give it the label. So both of them must be there. So, and that is like the standard way of putting your input and your form. So open your code again. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can open your code. When you're done, Christopher will share his. Where's my StreamYard? So open your share your screen.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look at this
And
now,
you have everything under the
now if you look at your code, if you look at your code, your label, your label your label for the email and also the input for the email, they are not really aligning in the sense that firstly, the input type you're using for your email is not meant to be text. It's actually meant to be email. You get, it's meant to be email.
Um, if a particular type of box is corresponding, like input type, either password is password, email is email, address is address. Then it's when you're putting name, that's when it's text.
Yes, when you're putting something like name, you get, when you're putting something like name, then the type you're going to use, the type you're going to use will just be normal text. But if it's an email, definitely going to use an email type. So
If they say it's address, go address is the address at the text.
for the address, no, the address is going to be not just you can use text. You can use text. But for password, you have to use password.
Okay. So the unique ones among them is the email and the password. Any
Yes.
other one? Like,
Uh
yeah.
uh there are actually other types. And also, you know, I think I drafted out a list of different types. Okay, let me send it to the WhatsApp because there are a lot of them that you can use. You get, there are actually different types that you can use in terms of password or I also mentioned something about the radio type. You get radio type and oh you're already using it there. Yeah, button type. So all of these things are just like different input types. There are so many input types that you can use in CSS or in HTML. Let me get them up. So you let me so there are actually like different types that you can use. I am sending the reference to the WhatsApp group chat right now. Yeah, you've corrected for the radios, right?
Yes, yes. It's now, okay, well,
Okay. What about the terms and conditions form? Correct for the terms and conditions
um,
form. And also there is no need of actually trying to put that paragraph, except you are the person that decided or personal note, maybe you want to style it, but you can actually remove that paragraph tag.
Yeah, I can just write something that I should.
You can still use label.
I mean,
I mean, you can actually use label instead of using that paragraph tag. Just put the input first. The same way you did that initial, the previous form, the radio one.
well, 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 in this case, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Um, I want to sign off and I agree with terms and conditions. Uh, the first one is mandatory, and the second one is optional. You know, when we give them scary name,
Now, if
it means, right? So, in a,
okay, see what you do.
yes,
You don't really need to give them the same name. You don't need to give them the same name.
yes.
Just in different names.
So that one can be able to click on this and click on the other as well.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So, it's now showing, it's not supposed to be showing now. It's now
No,
showing
yeah, yeah, there is a missing tag you didn't finish. You are you are using button as your input type. Give it checkbox.
When do we use button?
Button is just
When
like a
someone
normal button.
okay now I can click on it. Then you
Hello, I want to ask a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, very well.
From this thing you asked now, is it the name or the value that determines when it comes to clicking the checkbox buttons? Like on my own, the gender part, the names are the same.
Uh-huh.
In fact, for everything, I put their names are the same. But for the male and female, their values are different, which means
Yeah, the values have to
I
be
can
different.
actually click either of them.
Yeah, the values have to be different.
But when it comes to the terms and conditions, I left the value at the same. So it's a
No,
bit confusing. I don't know whether it's the
the
name or the value that determines whether you can tick one or the both.
it is the name that determines whether you can tick one of the both. But what is going to be sent to the back end is going to be coming from the value. Okay, so
So that means what I'm asking it is my own checkbox. The name, I left the name at T and C, T and C. They have the same names.
no,
But I can do,
they're not meant to have the same names.
then
I don't know whether it's,
so you can
I
Well-
thought it's, can I even show? I'm using my phone, my,
When okay, when she's done, you also share your screen. That is, we're just waiting for her to be done.
okay, no problem. When she's done, just finish up when you're done. So I can show because since my laptop is giving me more network issues than the phone, so I just switched back to my phone.
you can connect it both together. But me now, I have to connect it two of them. Now, so I can think what's going on. Yeah,
What's the echo that comes with them when I do that?
Okay,
switch
you
off the speaker. Switch off the speaker of the phone or switch off the speaker of the laptop phone. Like my phone on is the one that the speaker is switched off now. So I can choose switch off the speaker of the laptop on here. And the shift position.
Okay, like what you're saying is, that is very good. Okay.
I you just have to switch off the speaker of one of them.
The speaker. Okay, okay.
Not like not just the okay, I know what was happening. My own girl was on. This thing was on.
That's a good idea.
I didn't hear that thing, you like
I'm looking at your code. You've corrected for a type password. See that after that input, your second to last input. After your second to last
Yeah.
input, give that I want to sign up for a newsletter. Give it a label.
Okay.
Now, what the I I won't want to take that much time, but what you are going to correct, what you are going to correct later is you have to give this stuff's ID and link that ID. You have to give those inputs ID. You guys give them an ID, then link the label that input is for together by giving them the same ID name. I've explained it already.
This one,
Yes,
the
like
one of this email address.
yeah, for all of themselves. Okay, yeah. Do it for them. You have done for this male and female own, so do it for those ones that don't have it. You get
What's the work of that ID here now? Like, what does the ID now do for it?
now the ID. Remember what I said about ID? You always use it when you are doing your JavaScript and also your CSS and all that. You get
Yeah. So
so
is it I'm trying to make it more responsive?
you're not making it more responsive. You are kind of like saying that okay, giving this, like I said, you're kind of telling your browser that oh, these two things are linked together. You get, but in the future you'll find out the reason for IDs. Yeah, because that is how you be fetching information whenever you want to do something in quotes with JavaScript.
Uh, uh,
So all those
okay,
get
let me stop sharing so that people
yeah. So all those get element by
can.
this and get element by that is what is going to be happening. So Christopher, share your screen. I've just been testing this evening, like so tested.
I don't know why my laptop is it just went. We lost your network connection again.
I think you can
Right
connect.
out of the phone. We're using the same network.
You can connect the two together.
Eh?
I think you can connect the two, your laptop and your phone together at once.
That's what I'm saying. The two of them are connected. But the data of the laptop keeps losing network.
Uh,
Like, but it's the same. That they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi. But I don't know what's wrong with that of the laptop. Maybe it's looking for stronger. Okay.
Yeah. Try it again.
I don't even know how to. But I can show you what I was talking about. Yeah, what's that? That video option we used the other time, so whether I can just use it and show you what I want to show.
The video option. No, continue since your laptop is connected. Off one of your speakers.
I got phone. Sure, you can hear me. Let me share
Very well.
my screen.
Very well. Just share your screen.
Okay. Can I see my screen now, right?
Yep. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I'm looking at the.
Look at the area I'm talking about. Anyway, let's start. I think
Like
Sensor.
drag your this thing well so I can see the code from.
Huh?
Like move your cursor to the right or drag that scroll bar to the right to the left. Exactly. Email. Okay. Scroll down.
See this one I'm talking about.
Okay, there is something I want to say. Just this thing I just noticed right now.
Okay.
You know, in that your ID, you gave it a space. You wrote first space bar input. But
Where?
look at that.
Which?
I agreed to the terms and conditions part.
Okay.
You know your ID and your for they have space.
So which idea are you talking about that I gave space?
You wrote first space bar input. That one you wrote first input now.
Uh-huh.
Now there is something I'm going to show you now.
You said space.
There is something I'm going to show you. Go to your CSS, the CSS of this file. Try to style that input with that ID. Remember to style any div or any element you give.
I didn't hear what you said.
Try to style that element that has that ID.
That's the terms and conditions part you mean, right?
Yeah, the one that has first input as that you put as ID first input. Try to style it
Compile it
in the CSS. Yes.
CSS. So that's its ID. No. Sorry. How do I even start the styling? Is it ID I'm going to use in the CSS?
Remember last time I said something about classes? No, clean that ID. Delete everything, backspace all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Backspace all of them. Backspace that ID. Remember I said one of those classes, I mentioned something about when you are styling a class, when you want to style a class, you must start with, for classes, you must start with dot, that class name. You get? Well, this is ID. ID, you're not, that is not how to style an ID, you don't use dot. To style an ID, you don't use dot. You use hash to call on that ID. You're not going to use dot. Now, write that ID name. Now, I've gotten the point. Now, if you look at this thing now, your browser, if you want to write an ID or a class, most especially an ID on any one of them, you don't use space bar. If you notice, it's giving you a red underline. You don't use space bar. You don't space it out. You get? And if you are doing that like that, if you give it a space, it's a sign that you are giving them you are giving it two different ID names. You get? So it's either you give it, remove that space bar. You can use something like underscore. You can put first underscore input.
So that means even in the HTML too, I will need to make it same.
Yes.
Like remove the space bar there too.
Yes.
Okay. And that's same for like this one because it's just one word.
Yes. So, but as you did it with that space bar now, as you did ID equals first space bar input, it's a sign that if you're going to style with it, your ID actually, if you write it that way with that space bar, it's a sign that you're kind of saying that the ID name is actually first. Like first is an ID name, and then another ID name is input. So you're kind of saying I'm giving a 2-in-1 ID name. I don't know if you get what I mean.
The input there will be useless.
The input also will be used too. Okay, put a space bar there.
I think
Put a space bar there. Go to your CSS. Don't put a space bar. Clean that first. Leave that hash, yes. Now give it right background color. Give it red. Check
Nothing happened.
which one did we give the background color?
This one.
Give it a border color. Give it red. Refresh it.
It's not on the browser. Actually, the input to the
Okay, clean that input. Right first there. Refresh the browser.
It's not browser I'm using. I'm using it's the VS Code. Normal preview of VS Code. So I only need to refresh it. Wait, let me even confirm that I linked this thing first. I linked it now. So, or let me try the
Do it combined. Okay, use that. Use the two of them together. Let me be sure.
okay. With space
No, without space.
or without space? Okay. Let me have I changed the space in one minute. You know it's still spaced out here.
Join it together. Refresh your browser.
Still not reflecting. Yeah, I try from your own, it's not reflecting.
Let me try this from mine.
Yeah, I'm playing with that word. No, okay. I don't know, maybe is it that
Give me a sec. I'm coming.
is something else that's supposed to be with ID?
No, there's nothing supposed to be with the ID. Ash. Put ID. Mine is working now.
But you let me share your screen so that we will see if there's something we're not doing properly. Or check from your own code and see if there is something we are doing wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming. But stop sharing your screen. Let me show you what I'm.
Okay.
Okay, look right here. If you notice, let me split this up. Okay. This is my code. And I'm using an ID here, but and this ID is for this email over here. You get this is the email type input, so which is this. I gave it an ID name box. What I was trying to explain is if I put something like uh if I put something like this box email, I put something like this as my ID. Technically, I'm doing like a two-in-one ID. So this will be ID of box, and this will also be an ID of email. So it's like a two-in-one ID. So if I should come over to my CSS and style for box, if you refresh, if you refresh, it's not going to show anything. Okay, now if I should style this as box and I come here, it's going to reflect. But now one of the things I was trying to explain is this. Assuming this is a class, for example, I give this a class name of email. Yeah, I can hear you
Sorry, can you hear me?
very well.
Sorry for interrupting you. My apologies. Well, I did on that one. But that particular one we are trying to dive was checkbox.
Yes.
So maybe that checkbox
Okay.
not just like
Was that was on checkbox that he was doing that?
yeah,
Oh,
checkbox. That one down checkbox. But for this email ones that you told us
okay,
to assign
okay,
them,
okay, okay.
like
Was
what?
I was
But that
wondering.
checkbox
No, for checkbox, no.
That one that
So I actually thought that was on
right
on an
there.
email normal inputs box that has a container that you have to put in something.
So my it was checkbox you're trying to like,
Was checkbox I was trying to do.
Oh, I guess that was the issue. Okay, so there was this thing that I was trying to explain. Like we have a class now, and we have email. You get. I can do like a two-in-one class name. Yeah, so I can say email, uh, and I give it another name, email box. But if I should come over to this place now, if you look closely, we have two emails, two class names here, and there is a space bar separating them. I can still use this email and design the class. Sorry, that class email and design that box. I can also use this email box here and still design that same box. Say for example, I come over here, I'm gonna delete this and do dot email box and say border color green. I should come here and refresh. This should change to green. Okay. Then the same thing goes again. If I should delete this and still use the other class name dot email box, or we say border radius 20 px, that color red. If I should refresh this, the same thing happens. So you become familiar with something like this more often, in the sense that as you'll be designing some things and working on some certain projects in quote, you'll be able to design certain things using multiple class names. You get, and multiple class names for one element will also work. So I don't really know if there's any question.
there's something that I'm always having issues with. I wanted to make this. Can you hear me?
Very well.
I wanted to make this 50% of the page. What do I do? Is it with or is it for that? Or is it matter?
You want to make which one 50% of the.
The form, like let's say some people page, like make it 50% of screen.
Okay,
Even if it's not just this form, like when you want to make something, 50% of the screen, is it further with or with like
you use width. You use width. Let me give this a name. From one, we can come here and say from one
See, right? Out of the checkbox now, is it that they can't decide on
There's another format
Yo,
of styling.
yeah, it has its own format of styling. Exactly. No, not every style will work for everything. I don't know if you get what I mean. Christopher, for one, no, this will not work. To style this form, I have to save, use place content, center. Wait, there's some margin. Yeah, right. Some it's not reflecting. Sheesh. No.
Mine
You say what?
is
Is it your width?
both my father, my life, both my life.
Why is mine not reflecting that? Give it a minimum width of. Yeah, that's good. Wait, let me see your code. Some reason this is not
Okay?
turning up.
I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen. Let me stop presenting.
All of them are not in the same form. They carry everything at once. I don't even understand what
And no, I didn't hear you
I can you hear me now?
very well.
I said that your your own has like mine now is just one form. Like this form one has everything. But yours is two forms. You have two forms whereby this second part, this radio part, is in another form. So if you are to give and if you want everything to just want to also include down, this will check just like the radio part. That's what I mean.
Don't comment them
But
out.
to my CSS, to my CSS,
Yeah, it's correct. Uh, yeah, exactly. It,
um, I don't know it's almost supposed to, if I should be supposed to, if I extend this thing to extend.
yes. Okay, I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out. Whether it's not working. Well, is there any other questions about?
Uh, is to how to design check function.
How to
Then
is how to
that one we need to the checkbox. As you we now do that one in the CSS. Like,
mm, depends. Uh, okay. Let me get this custom how to. Let me get this how to article and just because there's no. I won't say there's a specific course for that, but there are kind of a lot of things involved in it. So let's just follow through this article and just explain it.
let me stop sharing now.
All right. Now I'm gonna use an article and explain that HTML checkbox. HTML forms dot HTML. And I'll do this. I don't want to take a lot of time creating another CSS file, so I'm just gonna do it in internal CSS. So I'll come over here and do my. Um, now to create a in the normal checkbox, you know how to do that one. That is like using the normal input. But so I say let me create a label. So label, and can create the input. Yeah. So create the input. Give it like the input should be like a checkbox. Now tab this. Come here. Live preview. Okay, we have a checkbox. But then there is also another element too that is called span. I know that we have used something like co-span before. Yeah. So I'm gonna call it span and give it a class name, check mark. Then maybe give this an input, a for input of for it. Doesn't really matter whether I put it or doesn't. I don't put it. I'm not really going too much in depth. So I just want to style this. So let's give it a class name, container, class name container, refresh. Okay. We can give this front end. Front end will be the name. Now, after that, next thing we're going to do is go to CSS. So CSS, we'll have to like different CSS this thing you're going to come across. So like there's actually there is this new CSS or is something there is this CSS that there is called property that is called WebKit, or even the one that you get from Mozilla that is MOZ. But you it's actually much, I won't lie to you, sure. But let's just start the container first. So container, so container, we give our container a font size of any pixel we like. Let's say 20 pixel. Yeah, I know container is the label, so increase the font size. Then another thing is that we'll like add some, whether we add padding or not doesn't really matter. Or we can do something to the cursor type. Is this CSS property called cursor? So we want our mouse to always be pointing whenever we come over here. With that pointer I seen it. This is not a link.
Finish
Usually,
your hand. Yeah.
usually when it's a link,
Yeah.
this pointer hand will come out. But when you use this property, this CSS property, this pointer cursor is pointer. Anything you set it on will just change hand automatically. So yeah. Also create another container. Not really another container, but the input inside the container. So dot container input. So this will target the input in the container class. That is this. Sorry, my phone was power off. So it will target the input in the container class. And inside it, we can say, okay, I want the what I say the opacity. You know what I mean? Opacity. Opacity is like
Yeah.
exactly. So I'll be like, okay, opacity. When something the transparency, we'll give it 0. Then if you notice that it's appeared. Yeah. So cursor pointer and position with a position absolute. I don't really think this height and width is necessary, but let me know. Let me skip it for in terms of the document. Then next thing we're gonna go into is well, this thing can actually sound much. I won't lie to you. So we'll go into styling the check mark. So the check mark is this. So I want to style this span over here. So we can give it a background color of let's say background color. Give it let's give it red. Okay. Then position 2, make it absolute. And give it height and width. 5 px. Width 25 px. Now, after giving it a height and width of 25 px, we want We'll also give like top and left. Just say top 0, left 0. Now, after giving it these two things, there is this web kit that that has always been available. Web kit. Have you visited websites that when you visit them, it feels as though your scroll bar is not the default scroll bar again. That it has been redesigned. I don't know if you've come across something like that. There are actually websites like that.
Are you talking about your push or which one?
I didn't hear you well.
I say when you say scroll bar is redesigned, you don't know you. They're not talking about your cursor, like
No, 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 no.
okay, no.
There is this scroll bar that used to be at the left and right, or left and the right and the bottom. They will be redesigned.
Yes. That used to go up or down. Okay.
Exactly. So
I think I've seen something.
yeah, there is this. It's not something you actually code. It's more of something that was launched from either Mozilla. You get it's more like I call it an extension, CSS extension. When you use in your CSS, you will see new, or I call it different or new method of styling in your CSS. Or let me just proceed. Now I'm going to come back to this container. I'll come back to this container and give it a position. I've not talked about this position CSS property, and hopefully I should talk about it on at least this week, because we are going to be going to CSS fully this week. So position relative, we can say give it some padding left, like maybe like 30 pixels. Okay, yeah, getting somewhere. Also, then with that CSS, that WebKit user select, then was user select, um, select, um, okay.
Are you live there?
Yeah.
Is it all this tiny talks that we are starting all these things?
Yep. Yeah, is it? I won't say that there is a definite. I won't say that there is a definite way of
I said
like.
all this time
Uh, uh, Very well.
I said all this styling, is it for this small tiny front end box?
Yep. Is it?
Okay. So no be small wahala.
Are you guys still available?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have impute, we have check mark. Okay. Then we're going to style the container, and this time around is we're going to do after I don't know if I've talked about hover, but I don't know if I've mentioned. I think I've mentioned something about hover. One time I was showing you guys about button bar.
You think that from those that check one and look on
Exactly. So when you use container hover, then we'll use this CSS collector selector. I don't know if you've come across it. We use this CSS selector and select this check mark inside here. Okay, so when this is hovering and select this check mark, so check mark. And inside of it, you give it a background color of, I don't know if I'll say black. Black. It's supposed to come out black. Then small container again. Container and the input. Then container will select the input when the input is checked. Then when it's checked, inside it will select the check mark. And we'll give it a background color. White. Or let's say gray. Ma? Yeah. Yes, you're about to. Huh? That's sorry, okay, let me just end it up here. Let me end it up here. Let me end it here. Good night. It's already 1 hour 30 minutes. So Christopher,
I'm not understanding anything again. I don't know.
It's already 1 hour 30 minutes. So, Christopher, this is the part I say good night to all of you guys.
Good night.
All right.
Good
But
night.
this checkbox time, not the
It's,
choice. So
it's actually long though.
it's long, man. No,
All right.
we'll go through the video, this last part, and hopefully you know what's up.
We're not even done. We'll just continue it maybe tomorrow.
All right, now. Have a good night.
Oh yeah. All right. And also on Wednesday there won't be like a free class shot because we have to like run throughout this week.
Already said that.
All right. Good night.